and doubles muscle mass, including 40% more heart muscle. These are changes we can see and hear, but changes are going on that we can't see. In the brain, nerve cells undergo extensive rewiring, transforming our mood and character. Both sexes experience a flood of new emotions, and one beats them all. For the first time, both sexes find the other sexually attractive. From the inside out, our bodies are overwhelmed by new sensations. Our pulse races. Our blood pressure rises. Our lips gorge. Our cheeks flush with blood. All signs that we desire someone. And if the desire turns out to be mutual, we hit another major milestone, our first kiss. In its first 2 decades, the human body accomplishes something close to miraculous. We're nearly 4 times our original height, 21 times heavier. We've digested 9,000 tons of food. Our hearts have beaten over 1 billion times. Our lungs have drawn over 200 million breaths. Now, with puberty behind us, we're ready, in mind and body, to become adults. Our early 20s, childhood and puberty are behind us. This is the start of a new phase in our lives, adulthood. We've flown the nest. What happens now is up to us. In our 20s, we look and feel better than at any other time in our lives. We're in our prime, both outside and in. Trillions of cells make up our organs and tissues. Over time, these wear out or get damaged, but new cells grow and divide to replace the old ones. Our body replaces entire organs, so it's no wonder we feel good. Essentially, every 10 years, we get a brand new body. Some tissues regenerate even faster, like our hair and nails, which requires a quick trip to the salon every so often. Hairs are made from modified dead skin cells. Each hair grows from a follicle embedded in the skin. The modified cells grow here, then die as new cells push them upward. The column of dead cells is the hair. Each person grows an incredible 7 miles of hair every year. Our hair grows whether we want it to or not, but other parts of our body are partially under our control. Choices we make now, like exercising, affect us for the rest of our lives. It has an effect throughout the body, helping cells and organs stay in peak condition. Our muscles are also building. This is a new imaging technique that combines the highest resolution CT scans with cutting-edge computer power. It's called volumetric, and it shows how our 650 skeletal muscles make up to a third of our adult body weight. It's been suggested that if all the muscles in the body work together, they would generate enough power to lift more than 11 tons, the weight of more than 4 SUVs. Muscles are made from bundles of fibers. A good workout rips these fibers apart, but our cells repair the damage by adding extra material. The muscle grows back, bigger and stronger, through choices we made. Unfortunately, some choices are less beneficial. Some expose us to damage that even our youthful cells can't repair. Parties are a part of life in our 20s. We all know smoke can damage the lungs, but smoke isn't the only hazard here. Our hearing is under threat too, from loud noise. The problem is deep inside the ear. The fragile sensory hairs in the cochlea, or stereocilia, turn sound into nerve impulses. Loud noise destroys these irreplaceable cells. The hairs that respond to high frequencies are most affected, maybe because high-pitched sounds shake their foundations more violently. The effect is too small to notice. But the frequency range of our hearing is already shrinking. Another source of damage is alcohol. As we absorb alcohol into our bloodstream, it affects both our organs and our state of mind. It raises our blood pressure and makes our heartbeat irregular. We relax, lose our inhibitions, and our coordination. These symptoms are a consequence of chemical reactions in the brain, especially in this region, the cerebellum. It controls coordination and balance. When we drink, alcohol affects the cerebellum's brain cells. Some synapses accept the signal more frequently. Others become totally blocked. The more we drink, the more extreme the effect. It may feel good now, but there will be a price to pay later. After a party, time passes, and we get to know our limits. Now, new challenges are on the horizon to find love and have children of our own. Our late 20s, childhood is a distant memory, but not the thrill of our first kiss. That was pure lust. Now, it's time for something new. It's time to fall in love. Many of us meet our future partners at work. We may think the attraction is social or physical, but a lot is biological. We use our eyes to size up our date. But looks aren't everything. Attraction is also about smell. Inside the nose, olfactory nerves do more than detect smells. They also detect chemicals we can't smell. Pheromones, odorless hormonal messages we release in our sweat. Pheromones carry information about our genetic health and our ability to resist disease. Our brains use these signals to help choose a partner with the best possible genes for our children. Love is more than just an emotion. It's all about chemistry. We release adrenaline into the blood. Our heart pounds. We can't sleep. When that happens, another hormone comes into play. The brain floods with dopamine, the feel-good hormone. It's as potent as cocaine, makes us euphoric, and it's addictive. It leaves us wanting more. We start thinking about commitment and eventually marriage. Love, both chemical and emotional, wins the day. It's a relationship we hope will last a lifetime, and the process of long-term bonding is chemical. Sex isn't just about procreation or recreation. It chemically strengthens the bond between us. Both partners' pituitary glands pump the blood full of a substance called oxytocin, sometimes called the bonding hormone. It's the very same hormone that binds us to our mothers as newborns. Some anthropologists believe oxytocin could be evolution's way of creating a bond that's strong enough to endure the trials of parenthood. And the time for parenthood is now. The man releases sperm. The goal, to find the egg. An egg ripens and bursts from the woman's ovary, the largest cell in the human body. It passes into the fallopian tube, ready for fertilization. Sperm are the smallest cells in the human body, and they have a tough journey ahead of them. First, they have to survive the hostile environment of the vagina. Its secretions are acidic to prevent bacterial infection, but they also kill sperm. Ejaculation releases 300 million sperm, but only thousands will make it as far as the cervix. The surviving sperm swim into the uterus and fallopian tube. Muscular contractions in the walls of the fallopian tube help guide the sperm toward the egg. Only a few hundred make it this far, and only one will succeed in fertilizing the egg. This truly is survival of the fittest. 10 hours later, the strongest of 300 million sperm is the one to pass on its genes. So far, there's no sign of conception. We're totally unaware that we're about to embark on a new chapter in our lives. Over the next 40 weeks, a single cell will develop into a perfectly formed baby. Often, the first symptom is morning sickness. No one knows for sure what causes the nausea. One theory is that it protects the fetus from toxins in food, which could harm its organs during this critical phase of development. Another theory is that nausea is a side effect of the mother's immune system, as it weakens to avoid attacking the developing embryo. The fetus is effectively a parasite. It saps the mother's energy as it draws what it needs from her body. It has its own life support system, the placenta. Here, the mother's blood passes nutrients across a membrane into the fetal blood. With this constant supply of nourishment, the fetus grows over 30 ounces in its first 10 weeks. The uterus expands to 1,000 times its normal size, just to hold it. That extra space has to come from somewhere, so the mother's body rearranges itself internally. This woman isn't pregnant, but her organs are still a tight fit. In a pregnant woman, the organs get squeezed, and some are pushed up into her chest. Not only are the organs squished, now they're working for two. The lungs and heart work harder than ever before. To make space, muscles and tendons in the spine relax, and it curves out of its normal shape. The stomach is also compressed and rotated through 45 degrees. It can only hold small amounts of food and drink, and still, the growing baby demands more. it's time to give birth. And pushing out a 7-pound baby can be quite a challenge. Softened tendons allow the pelvis to open up the birth canal.
More childbirth coming.
But even so, it's a cramped space. Volumetric imaging shows the claustrophobic route the baby has to take, with a tight twist to get around the tailbone. Sometimes it's too tight of a squeeze for mother and baby.
Oh, this could be a C-section.
The only option for a safe delivery is surgery, a cesarean section. From a newborn baby to becoming a parent in 30 years, the circle of life goes on. Our 20s are behind us. Our bodies are about to enter a new period of change as the aging process takes hold. Some experts believe that we all start aging from the moment we're born. The body's repair systems compensate. But now, the repair systems themselves are aging. The changes in our appearance are getting noticeable. We're in our 40s. The cumulative effect of years in the sun causes the first symptom, wrinkles. Since birth, our skin cells have replenished our skin at an astonishing rate. We can make up to 30,000 new skin cells every minute to replace the dead cells we're constantly shedding. By 45, we've created more than 400 pounds of dust from old skin cells. Whatever our age, our skin cells are never more than a few months old. The skin cells are fine. The problem is the stuff that binds them together, collagen. Ultraviolet radiation from sunlight triggers a molecular chain reaction that degrades collagen. The fibers get thin and break. Our skin loses elasticity, and we get wrinkles. Our eyesight is also changing. A few years ago, we could easily read without glasses. The problem is in the lens. Inner lens cells, along with heart cells and most brain cells, are among the only cells our bodies never replace. They're exactly the same lens cells we had as babies. As we get older, the lenses gradually stiffen. They don't focus as well. And our eyes start to dry out. We produce less fluid to lubricate the eye, and fewer tears to flush out debris. Middle age also changes the shape of our bodies. Exercise alone isn't enough to keep us in shape anymore. At 20, it was easy. We could eat what we wanted, do what we wanted. Now our metabolism is changing, and it's easier to put on weight. The explanation is in our blood. In middle age, the level of several hormones start to drop. Estrogen, testosterone, and growth hormones, and we start to lose lean muscle. We lose about 6.5 pounds of muscle during each decade of our adult lives. Less muscle means the body burns fewer calories. We need less fuel. If we continue to eat like we used to, the surplus food gets converted into this fat. For women, fat tends to go to their hips. It's the body's way of providing a steady energy supply for pregnancy. Men store fat in a different area, their bellies. Belly fat evolved for quick energy release. It helped sustain our male ancestors during hunting trips. Our ability to metabolize fat slows down as we age. Inside each cell in our bodies, there are tiny structures called mitochondria. These are the body's power plants. They combine nutrients from food with oxygen from the lungs to release energy. As we get older, the number of mitochondria dwindles, and we lose the ability to metabolize fat as efficiently. Too many calories and a drop in metabolic rate can be a lethal combination. Fat is much more than an extra inch on our waistline. It spreads throughout the entire body. For the first time, a high-definition endoscope, inserted through the navel, reveals the full extent of fat cover inside the abdomen. The intestines are smothered in yellow fat deposits. Fat finds its way into almost every available space of our bodies, even inside our blood vessels. Deposits build up on the inner walls, narrowing the tube. The heart has to work harder to pump blood through the restricted vessels. In extreme cases, fat can block the vessels completely. If fat blocks the arteries that supply the heart, the result can be fatal. The heart muscles are deprived of oxygen and nutrients. The muscle risks going into spasm, a heart attack. Heart disease is the biggest killer in the Western world. Fat isn't the only risk to our health as we age. Stress also plays a damaging role. Middle-aged life is stressful. Holding down a job and raising teenage kids. Stress is exhausting, but the damage doesn't stop there. It also speeds up the aging process. 50 years old. Our bodies may be slowing down, but our lifestyles aren't. A growing family and a demanding career add up to another influence on the aging process: stress. We all recognize the outward signs of stress: sweaty palms, shortness of breath, a dizzy feeling. But the real damage takes place inside. Our bodies instinctively shift into fight or flight mode. Hormones, adrenaline, and cortisol flood from the adrenal gland into our bloodstream. Our muscles contract, arteries constrict, the heart pumps faster, and our blood pressure hits the roof. We evolved the fight or flight reflex to quickly respond to attacks from predators. To have the reflex triggering so constantly causes irreparable harm to our cardiovascular network. Stress accelerates the aging of our blood vessels. High blood pressure damages cells in the artery walls. They become stiff and thick. Especially here in the biggest artery, the aorta. Arteries with stiff walls restrict blood flow. As our blood pressure rises, the heart is forced to work harder. It's a vicious cycle. The more stressed we get, the more we damage our blood vessels. And the more we damage our blood vessels, the less we're able to deal with the effects of stress. If the problem gets out of control, the heart becomes enlarged as it struggles to force blood through our narrow, less elastic blood vessels. High blood pressure can even rupture blood vessels in the brain. A stroke. Most of us learn to manage stress. But for women in their 50s, another factor compounds the problem: menopause. In her 50s, a woman's ovaries stop releasing eggs. They also stop producing the sex hormones estrogen and progesterone, which signals the end of a woman's reproductive life. As the supply of hormones winds down, it destabilizes the regions of the brain that deal with mood, sleep, and temperature control. When the hypothalamus is thrown off course, hot flashes occur, moments when the body can't set its thermostat correctly. Bone and muscle tissues weaken. The woman's body has spent its whole life getting accustomed to these hormones. Now they're gone, and the aging process accelerates. Our 60s come and go. Our kids leave home, and we leave work. We enter a new phase of life, old age. In 70 years, we've grown from a tiny baby to an adult, from child to parent to grandparent. The aging process began several decades ago. Now, we're in the great. It's the final chapter in the journey of life. When we retire from work, we gain a slower lifestyle and our bodies slow down. The outward signs of aging are only the beginning. Aging also dramatically affects our skeletons. Any of us could be at risk for osteoporosis. Our bone cells are still hard at work, destroying old bone and replacing it with new. But old age upsets this balance. Osteoclasts destroy the bone faster than osteoblasts can rebuild it. What remains is a hollowed out cluster of brittle bone fibers. Our bones slowly crumble as the years slide by. Broken bones become a very real danger. It can happen to men and women alike. But the process is faster in women because of the hormonal changes of menopause. The aging process is one of the great mysteries of life. Why does our appearance change so much between the ages of 40 and 70? It's more than wear and tear. It's a process affecting every cell in our bodies. Every day, cells clone themselves into billions to battle wear and tear on our organs. The DNA inside each cell gets copied. The old cells die off, and the new ones take their place. But over a lifetime, we make so many copies of ourselves that even the tiniest defects accumulate. It's like using a photocopier. Copies made from copies degrade in quality. We have totally replaced the bone in our face every 10 years since we were born. Our 70-year-old face is a seventh generation copy of our baby face. The imperfections are exaggerated with each copy. Another reason for aging could be the air that we breathe. We need oxygen to live, But throughout our lives, it slowly poisons us. Inside each of our cells, our mitochondria are like tiny power plants, combining food with oxygen. They create the energy we need, but just like a power plant, they also generate pollution. In this case, the pollutant is oxygen. The mitochondria change the molecules into unstable forms called free radicals. Over a lifetime, free radicals slowly suffocate the mitochondria and damage our cells. Our cells and DNA become more and more damaged. Repair systems fail. Imperfections accumulate. Eventually, our organs fail. Even with a healthy lifestyle and the best medicine, death is unavoidable. Our DNA makes us what we are and guides our development, but it also determines how long we live. Every time one of our cells copies itself, it loses a tiny piece from the end of the DNA. After billions of cell divisions, the end section is gone. Our cells can't divide anymore. Death, like life, is a biological process. Scientists believe that near the moment of death, our bloodstream is flooded with endorphins, the body's natural painkillers. Now, starved of oxygen, tissues can't function. Within 10 seconds, the brain's electrical activity drops. Hearing is the last sense to go. It can take 24 hours for our skin cells to stop dividing. Its final impulse. There's a saying that life goes on. For some of us, it could go on for some time. Thanks to modern medicine, children born in the US today can expect to live to celebrate their 77th birthday and beyond. Even when we're gone, we live on through our loved ones. Our children and their children carry our genes in every cell. They carry memories of us too, the moments they shared from our extraordinary story. All journeys must come to an end. But what a journey it's been. the most important breath of our lives. The first of 700 million. Our lungs.
Alright, any questions? Maybe one or two that were not on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, that's always supposed to be.
All right,
Thank you for inviting us over. Yeah.
okay, names on those, let's pass those up. We'll come back, remember we got 2 weeks, so we gotta pretty quickly get back, we're gonna get through digestive system.
Never walked out.